Okay, so today's video is going to be all at this desk right here. We're not moving. I will share my screen. Today, as I said yesterday, is going to be all about color theory. I'm going to give a brief rundown of color theory and like the idea behind color theory from what I understand. Not even like probably the right definition, but from what I understand and kind of like what I think about when it comes to color theory myself. And then we're actually going to jump into Lightroom and kind of mess with it a little bit. I'm actually waiting for the Lightroom to update Lightroom Classic because I decided to never update this one, but then update the one on my desktop and then start editing this Lightroom project and on the desktop. And now, yeah, so having some issues here. And it's like 11:30 right now, just so you guys all know. And so we're going to jump right in because this video is due today, and I'm probably gonna be late. I'm probably gonna be a little bit late, probably after 12, maybe 12:30. Yeah, I ended up doing about double the sneak peeks I normally do because I was like really getting into a couple portraits, and I was just like trying this new vintage glass, like FD glass on this wedding. And so I was like really tweaking stuff and like messing around with it and like, oh, it's really warm and I don't know, And then I was like, I edited too many of a couple portraits, now I gotta edit more photos everywhere else. So that has been my experience lately. So I have a teleprompter and I like how I just keep using my phone. I mean, maybe it was a more professional video. These are just the challenge videos, right? The 21-day challenge videos. So just those. I've decided that, yeah, I don't need to worry as much about quality in these videos, if you guys could not tell. I think getting these done, the challenge is the fun part, right? So the fact that I'm doing a video per day and falling very behind right now, it has been crazy. Let me tell you, it's about to get more crazy. So I'm going to try to come back though, and we're going to try to get back on schedule. Okay, so color theory is basically the idea that colors play an important role in emotion and what the viewer feels and perceives, and mainly referring to video and like movies. So, and then it can also, I don't know if this is part of color theory, but colors play a huge role in things like contrast and making certain things stick out and so on. We're not going to dive too much into that today. We're going to dive more into the idea. Well, we are going to dive quite a bit into that. But we are going to dive into the idea of like, I'm going to briefly list off kind of what each color normally makes somebody feel and what thoughts it might bring up, what emotions it might bring up. But it's not objective, just so we know, because it can be very subjective too. I mean, you could have people probably argue like neuroscience arguments again, like on all this. But when you start hearing some of the stuff, you're like, okay, it is subjective. I'm just going to start off right now and say green. Money is like green can make people like think about money, right? So, but not everywhere because it's mainly a US thing because our money's green. And now it's slowly changing to other colors, but it's like our dollar bills are green. So but then other countries, they are not. So that doesn't have the same meaning to those individuals. So it could mean greed to somebody in the US, but outside the US, it could mean outdoors. Like green is a very prevalent color in a lot of outdoors. If you're not in the desert or like Colorado this year. Which is very dry this year. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of each color and essentially what they typically make somebody feel. Lightroom updated. It's updated. I'm gonna open Lightroom and we'll jump in there after this. So make sure it opens. Okay, I think it's opening. All right, let's jump in. So, red is typically like energy, urgency, passion, danger. Vibe is like trust, calmness, sadness. Yellow is optimistic, warmth, sometimes caution, again, signs, stuff like that, right? So, green is growth, health, money in the US, balance, in nature, as I was saying. It's a very common color in nature. Orange, friendly, playful, can be a call to action without the aggressive vibe of red and like the anger portion of red. Purple is like luxury, mystery, spirituality. Pink is more like sweet, romantic, or bold and modern, depending on the shade, like neon and whatnot. And we are going to mess with some pink today. I'm curious. Don't know if it's going to work. So I'm going to leave it there. I've got some ideas. And it might come out horribly. So, but we'll see. Yeah, like sweet, romantic, bold, modern, and black. That's like power, elegance, formality, seriousness. White is clean, pure, simple. Gray, neutral, practical, balanced. That's like a general vibe of colors. Now, we can also take colors. You have so many options. I'm probably not going to actually list all these. You have like complementary colors, which are like I don't think I need to go into this too much, but complementary colors like complement each other, right? So like orange and teal. Like if you look at a color, honestly, I should be pulling this up. I think there's like an Adobe thing where you can kind of play with it a little bit, but I think that's for a better thing I could do if I remade this video. If like a lot of people like this video and a lot of views got to this video, then I'll probably dive in and actually just sit down and spend a good amount of time, a couple days, to make that video, make it really good. And actually, I'm honestly going to talk about it while I'm editing the photos. So let's kind of dive into that. So, what the heck? It's upgrading a catalog now, I guess. So I just feel like we're never going to get around to it. Yeah, I'm going to cut this for a sec because I actually need to plug my computer in as well. And actually, no, it's loading. I'll just switch over right now. Maybe. My computer's not even plugged in. Okay, we're cutting. Sorry. All right, we're back. Or I'm back. Got my computer open. Good thing I stopped it because, yeah, it was just a mess. I like opened an old catalog and then I had to upgrade the catalog. I don't know what. Now I might have to figure out if it's going to work on that computer. So much going on. Okay, so I decided I do want to go over the different color combinations and like color harmony and whatnot. But I'm going to go real quick, all right? So we have complementary, colors opposite of each other on the color wheel. Contrast is basically energetic, dramatic. Yeah, really just kind of makes things stand out. I can't do this. Analogous. You know what I mean. That was rough. Analogous. Wow. Why can I not say that word? Wow. What? I'm gonna stop there. Harmonious, peaceful, natural colors next to each other on the color wheel. Monochromatic, one color, different shades. Like think, like I just think black and white a lot of times, but you could have like sepia, right? So you can think about that. Triadic, 3 colors, evenly spaced around the coloring wheel. Vibrant, balanced, playful, red, yellow, blue, orange, green, purple, those types of colors. Split complementary, which I kind of like split complementary, but I kind of do like red and orange and then more of just teal. So it's not necessarily split complementary, but yeah. One base color plus 2 colors on either side of the complement. Oh wait, that is split complementary. Wow, I do split complementary without even knowing it. High contrast but softer than complementary. Blue plus yellow, orange plus red, orange. So, tetradic, it's a 4-1. 2 complementary color pairs. That's the one I was thinking about. Square, 4 colors evenly spaced around the color wheel. bold, energetic, colorful, red, yellow, green, blue. But yeah, so I've got some photos pulled up. I had them pulled up yesterday too. So I was kind of, those are like pre-edits. So I did some edits and I'll show you guys what I do briefly. It's obviously this is in Lightroom and you're going to see a smaller box and the photos are going to be super large. I feel like sometimes I make skin tones too orange. Like this seems a little bit orange to me now I'm looking at it. I think this is a different monitor. I might need, my monitor drives me crazy. Let me tell you that. So, oh, and I'm not even showing you guys anything. So yeah, so I'm saying maybe just a little bit orange on this guy. I feel like, I don't know, on the skin tones. I always struggle with that because my monitor, I just don't feel like shows skin, and I calibrate that thing like crazy. Like, just cannot get. I need to probably just buy a new monitor at this point. So, a lot of times when my skin tones are darker because I push things like holy cow, orange and reds into my shadows. So that's probably why. My skin tones sometimes turn out that way. But I think I'm getting better at it, and I'm trying to keep it a little bit more natural. So I stopped doing as much of the reds because I feel like it killed these skin tones. And this, I remember just seeing this, and I'm like, I got to change this image. When I uploaded it to the previews, I'm like, it's too blue up in the sky. Same thing with this one. The ceremony, because it was like midday, you know, it was like, not midday, but it was like 5. And 5, the sun in the summer here is 5's pretty bright. So yeah, this is kind of like I'm not going to go through them all. I'm just going to scrub through these. Like, we're playing with the FD glass, leaning into those imperfections, as I was saying yesterday. Yeah, they like this fun yellow car that you probably saw if you look at my thumbnail from yesterday, you'll see it. But all like fancy looking. Like this FD glass is really cool. It does some really crazy flaring. It's glass from like late 70s, 80s. But then you get like high quality images still. Like this was shot in FD glass. It's manual focus, so I actually probably focused on his ear by accident. But yeah, pretty cool. I don't know. It's kind of like a general overview of what we did yesterday. Now, okay, let's grab something with her bouquet because I want to show you guys what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to use pink. All right, because I just feel like it would match that Japanese vibe from yesterday, and maybe give it a little more romantic vibe to it as well. So how am I going to use pink? That's the question. And I don't even know how I'm going to use pink because it's going to be interesting. So, ooh, perfect, right here. Let's roll with this image here. This like he doesn't look super happy, but this I couldn't catch this guy smiling. That's her dad. Okay, so I mean, first off, whenever you start, you're going to quickly just go through, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I just feel like it's a little bit dark. Because we always expose for the sky just before it blows out, right? White balance is close enough. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because I'm trying to make this a crazy long video. I always like to lift my blacks a little bit and then drop a point. Oop, that was a little bit much. Drop a point here, bring this down, but then you gotta drop a point like a little bit higher up and bring it up. Maybe like not too high because you want to bring up some of those mid tones, and then I like to maybe roll off the ever so slightly here. Just roll off the highlights just a touch to give it a little more filmy vibe. That's kind of what I do typically. Yeah, it's just a rough curve. I can mess with these HSL sliders, and you definitely can to bring out more colors. So like if you have the colors already there, then mess with these. Like you can adjust saturation, luminance, and all of it. I actually like to go to the color one, and I can do it all right here on each color a lot of times. Okay, so this is where I like to live. Gosh, I wish I had more real estate. This computer. Okay, this is where I like to live. For kind of creating the look for the most part is going to be in this color grading tab. And it's also most similar to video stuff. So it just makes me feel a little more at home, I guess, right? So, yeah. So the pink, look at these pink in her flowers. I want to try to match that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to try to grab that pink. And see, this is might turn out a little funky. I was warning you guys. I don't know how it's going to work. I think I'm going to grab the lighter pink though. Okay, so if we grab this pink right here, right? It's obviously like way overdone. So I actually might adjust this before. But let's go into here and then we're going to push. Sometimes when I do this, what I like to do is I like to go to the skin. I like to just push it more towards where skin should lie. So I can do this manually, honestly. So like, because when you start adjusting stuff like this, you're going to just put a bunch of pink into the skin tones. And I like to protect that as much as possible. So I kind of get it to like roughly where I want it to be, and then you can tweak it from here. But obviously that pink is pretty overpowering. I'm actually going to bring the blending down so I can see exactly what's affecting what. Okay, pink's more in the highlight. That's perfect. See, it's kind of funky though, like to see pink in the sky. So I don't know how I feel about this, but give me 1 second. I'll mess around with it a little bit more. Okay, I'm already showing you guys what I'm doing, so I don't want to do it too much yet. Let's go back to where it was. All right, so we kind of gonna take the opposite of pink, which is either gonna be more of a blue. I'm curious about the green. Let's try it. Let's bring it up. Ooh, I might do it. I might go for it. So like kind of like, so pink's more like green, like more turquoisey. So we're gonna roll with that. And I've got like 3 lights on right now, so it's like very hard for me to see. I should probably turn up the brightness on my computer. Okay. Don't judge me too much, please. And this is being done very quick. I've never tried this before, ever. So we're gonna balance it more on this end. We want like the pink in the clouds so the blue almost stays blue. But now, with the problem of the green, I feel like it's being a little bit overpowering. So I'm actually going to bring up skin tones and orange a little bit. What you can do too, you can always kind of bring this more towards the pink too, but then you start to get weird pinkness as well. So I'm actually going to go Control Z into other things. So that's why I kind of do this orange, and maybe I push this a little more into yellow. You could also mess around with red. It's not doing a whole lot. This is why it's tricky. This is where it gets real tricky. Blending's where I always struggle. Yeah, I don't want to blend. It looks ridiculous. I'll keep it pretty distinct. I'm even going to drop it more. All right. And then I go in here. Now I mess with the luminance. See, like, if you want like this really does like the roll-off highlight look if you want it, but it also affects the color, so you got to keep that in mind. I'm going to drop it down a little bit, okay? Probably going to bring this other one up. Oops. Yeah, that needs to go up. I always go extremes first. I'll bring it way down. It's kind of getting muddied because I'm trying to protect those skin tones. It's a hard thing because typically I already use stuff that kind of is skin tony color, reds and oranges. So pink's a little bit difficult. Just a little too green here. I'm going to mess around with this. Like, you can lift it, create a more lifted look. And I think I will create the more lifted look. Lifted shadows, right? Okay, we're almost there. And I feel like I need some more pink. Instead of adjusting saturation, I'm just going to bring it in a touch. And make it very subtle. Pink's not a very natural thing to see in highlights. And I'm going to just touch saturation. Oops, too much. I'm doing this on a touch pad, so it's not necessarily great. Okay, so once you get that down, like, let's just bring the subjects up, because the subjects we exposed behind them, right, for the sky. And I just looking at it now, I'm going to probably go back and if I did too much pink now into the balance, just do that real quick. Ugh, go back. Bring the balance down. It's at -40. Let's go like -44. Go on the subject. So what this is doing is like, these are for wedding colors, right? So this is like the vibe she already picked out, and I'm trying to lean into it a little bit with the pink flowers. I could lean into the midtones being more yellow with the yellow flowers, because you have like these pink and yellow flowers, and we could mess with that. Oh my gosh, your skin's gonna need correction. See that pink, or I didn't use pink in the skin tones though, so let's mess with that a little bit. Gonna bring exposure up. Sometimes I just need to bring shadows up. So one thing I like about my current situation is like it's not this extreme with the pink. Like, pink's cool in the clouds and whatnot. That's like a cool idea, but a nightmare to do skin tones. Right. Let's mess around with pushing skin. I see. Okay, there we go. Did I drop this? I meant to go up with this one. I'm not a huge fan of this, but again, I'm just creating this from scratch. I've never done this look before, so I'm like not a huge fan. So now that we have, like, even just go into point color and just correct this one color. More towards a yellowish green. It's too pink or something. Something's off. It just looks so fake. You know what else like you can do? Like, the saturation is probably just too high on this, okay? There we go. Less is more sometimes. There we go. Not bad. So it gave a nice like pink vibe to everything, and it gave a very, like, everybody's scanning film now, and their film they're like bringing in, or their labs are all bringing in these like teal greens. That's all subjective. Like, they're a lot of times the labs are adding that in. I know they are. And it's, or maybe it's like their Noritsu scanner, but a lot of times I think they're adding it in. So basically, when you get film scanned, it's not just a scan. It's like they added the film for you. So that's why I scan my own film too, so I have that control over that stuff. So this is a very filmy vibe to it, though, like in the shadows. But then the pink in the sky, not necessarily filmy. Sometimes film, though. You have a little more pinkish sky. At least from my experience. Some other things, like you'd mess around with the color wheels. You can go out on the calibration, but I just tweak these a little bit. So like I actually do feel like red is probably a little too much. So I could bring this down a little bit, and I could bring this over. Down a little more. Some of these do some wild stuff. Like this just brings like life into the image sometimes and takes it away too. Maybe like mess with the blue primary. I think blue just a lot of saturation lives in blue maybe or something. I don't know how this all works. I mean that brings some life into an image too. The green. I feel like the red always makes it look so unnatural. I like his skin tones live there in the red, in this red primary channel. Okay. I don't know. That's kind of like a more romantic, I feel like Japanese-esque vibe I was kind of going for. I feel like the cherry blossom, right? So I don't think that's a cherry blossom. It might be. I don't know my flowers. So kind of going for more like maybe a cherry blossom vibe. I don't know. I'm actually curious about this. I kind of like this yellow flower in there. Let's throw some yellow in. I think let's just copy the flower's color. Got the saturation. All right. So we had green on this one. Let's mess around with adding some yellow, right? I like how it does that. My look, I don't copy stuff. I just like move the color wheel around until I find what I want. So I'm not liking what it's doing. Probably not going to do that. You have like her light blues too. Doesn't look too bad. This blue dress is actually very similar. This is not her bridesmaid, but it's very similar to her bridesmaid's colors of dresses. So you could lean into that too. Just kind of match all the wedding vibe colors, or the wedding colors in vibe. I don't know. How does this relate to color theory? It doesn't necessarily with this one grade. But let me just pull up the ones I did. I'll show you guys kind of like the contrast. Oh, this is perfect image right here. So the contrast you have in this image, look at their skin, which I push orange into a little bit of their skin. And then the teal sky, like that is an insane amount of color contrast. Same here. I do a lot of that. And then I keep the greens a little more warm. The only reason I keep greens more warm, so now, is because I don't like the greens I don't like the tealish greens. That's it. I think it's too cool and I like to have a warmer vibe to the image. So when I shoot weddings, I'm going for that warmer vibe. So I'm putting orange in, I'm putting reds sometimes into the shadows. Not necessarily as much this one, it's more of orange in the shadows. You actually see it right here. Orange in the shadows, orange in the, just a touch, to saturation, yellowish orange into the midtones, because the midtones are where the skin tone lives. You almost always want to probably do something color like that unless you're going for some crazy looking vibe. And then teal into the highlights. And then, yeah, a good amount of blending. I kind of like mine to blend all together. And the balance is definitely more towards that oranger side because I don't like teal to show up too much on stuff like dresses, stuff like that. But that's kind of a general overview. And then I do a lot of tweaking. Like here, I lifted those blacks a little bit, right? I do a lot of tweaking in the mixer too. Like I push my oranges or my reds towards oranges, stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of like the general vibe I kind of go for, and it's a little bit lighter typically. But then the some of the shadows have a little bit more earthy tone to them, so that it's not like light and airy, but it's also not dark and moody. So it's kind of like a mix, but more on the light and airy side. It's kind of what I'm going for. So I just want a nice warmth in my image, but also the coolness to just contrast a little bit. So the coolness living more on the highlights, the warmth living into the richer, deeper parts of the image, which are the shadows and even the skin tones, just a touch of orange, right? So midtones, but most of that orange or red living into that deeper section. It's kind of what I go for. It's a little bit of a pain indoors. I have to do some other tweaking and other things with indoor shots. I made this new preset and it seems to work pretty well indoors, so I'm rolling with it. This is the one I have kind of going on right now. In this, and let's go indoors and see. So if it's not super bad mixed lighting, this is what it looks like, typically around that, like something like that. And then if you get really bad mixed lighting, like here's one where I got the skin tones like perfect. But this is because like it was even lighting. We had to go a little bit earlier than we wanted to for golden hour because the wedding, just how it was structured. And then this is like mixed lighting with our preset, and this is where I feel like we struggle the most. So I will probably do some more tweaking and like have to mask stuff and grab just the oranges and stuff like that. But yeah, okay, I'm calling it good on all this because that was a long enough video in my opinion. I'm by no means like a color theory expert. So just to let you guys know, this was just kind of how I see it, and a challenge of basically using pink because I saw those flowers. I'm like, you know what? Can I do pink and stuff? I thought it looked kind of cool in the clouds, but I would probably mess around with it more. Skin tones had some weirdness going on. I know how to fix that in video, but I don't know how to fix this in Lightroom, if I'm honest with you. I would use the curves, but to get pink with the curves tool is going to be so hard. In DaVinci Resolve, you have an HDR error. You have so many tools. You have like 1,000 tools to use in DaVinci Resolve. So that's, I mean, maybe I could try doing a photo edit in DaVinci Resolve because I know they just had that photo editing option. So maybe that's an option later. We'll think about it. I might be doing that tomorrow. Just even if it's not part of the video, we'll see. If I do, actually, I'll mention it and show you guys a little bit. But yeah, cool. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe. What are we even on? I don't even know what day we're on anymore. 9, 10. I think tomorrow's 10. So day 10 of the challenge. It will be an eventful day. I can tell you that much. I've got some plans for it. It's going to revolve around a tripod. That's all I'm going to tell you. A pretty cool tripod. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.